Moving on now, as the trial against Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu resumed in Jerusalem, the Prime Minister said on Monday that not delaying his trial to after the elections would amount to election interference. Netanyahu also once again denied the corruption charges against him as he pleaded not guilty to all three charges.
שכולם יודעים שהתיקים נגדיים תפורים, אבל היום מתברר שהם אפילו לא תפורים עד הסוף, כי הרבה דברים חסרים שם, אפילו מבחינת התביעה, ולכן לא נראה לי שימהרו לשלב לשלב ההוכחות לפני הבחירות. בכל מקרה זה יתפס, גם אם זו לא הכוונה, זה יתפס כהתערבות בוטה בבחירות, ואם יהיה דבר כזה, אז אני אומר לך, אנחנו ננצח בגדול, אבל כיוון שאנחנו הולכים לנצח בלאו הכי, אנחנו לא צריכים לנצח כך, לא צריך את זה. צריך לנהוג לפי מה שהשכל הישר אומר, ואני מניח שכך יעשה גם.
Meanwhile, on Monday, dozens of protesters from different parts of Israel have come together in Jerusalem to protest against the Prime Minister and call for his resignation. As the leader appeared in court over corruption charges, several protesters carried banners reading "Crime Minister" and have demanded for a new and clean government in Israel.
We want democracy. We're living now in a dictatorship that looks like a democracy. We demand him to go. We want a new government, a clean government, no corruption.
This trial comes just 6 weeks before he faces a re-election. There are currently 3 cases against the 71-year-old Prime Minister, who is the first Israeli premier to be indicted while in office. He has been charged with allegations that he accepted improper gifts and regulatory favor with media moguls in exchange for some positive coverage. Netanyahu has denied all these allegations, calling the charges fabricated and claimed to be the victim of a witch hunt. Today's session marks the beginning of the trial, proper with subsequent hearings to focus on testimony and evidence. The trial schedule may force Netanyahu to appear in court multiple times a week as he campaigns ahead of Israel's 4th election in less than 2 years to be held on March 20th. Netanyahu is the first sitting Prime Minister of Israel to face this criminal prosecution. Now, as Netanyahu's trial enters an intensified pace, just 6 weeks before the election, the hearing has been pushed back multiple times due to the pandemic and coronavirus-related restrictions. But on Monday, the Israeli Prime Minister delivered his formal response to the corruption charges. Furthermore, subsequent sessions will focus on evidence and testimonies. The trial schedule may collide Prime Minister Netanyahu's election campaigns ahead of the Israel 4th election to be held on March 23rd. Netanyahu last appeared in court around 9 months ago after a fresh political victory. Bibi has formed a coalition government with his election rival Benny Gantz following 3 inconclusive votes. But the fraught coalition collapsed in December after Gantz branded Netanyahu as seriously dishonest. It is unclear whether the shadow cast of the trial will hurt the Prime Minister's re-election chances. But Bibi will fight to survive and to remain the leader in the upcoming March election and possibly for years after that. Several recent polls show Netanyahu's right-wing Likud party remains strong by a comfortable margin. But a party needs 61-seat majority to form a government, and that's not all. For the first time in his political career, Netanyahu is facing a challenge from a prominent Likud party defector, Gideon Saar. Saar broke away from Bibi to form his own party, New Hope. The last 3 elections were seen as referendums on Netanyahu's fitness for office. And all 3 ended in a deadlock. This March, there's a lot more than just the premiership at stake for Netanyahu. Presumably, the case will drag on for years, unless Netanyahu wins the election and push for parliamentary immunity, or pass laws to excuse incumbent prime ministers from facing any trial. WION World is now available in your country. Download the app now and get all the news updates on the move.